This is a video response to Bruce, who made another video response to me. Link in the description box. So Bruce says that I am logophobic of the word faith, and that's just not true. I don't like the magical connotations that people infer when they hear that word, so I prefer to use the word confidence. And Bruce, you say that the faith that it takes to believe in your God is the same as when you turn the key to your car and the engine starts and you're expecting it to, or when you look both ways and you cross the road and you expect there to be nothing to hit you, but there might be a chance that there is, but you have confidence. No, it's not the same. And I'll tell you why, Bruce. It's because verifiably, over time, I get positive results when I try certain things, when I expect them to happen. I expect to wake up in the morning. I expect to have my car start when I turn the key. And why? Because every time I test it, that result happens. And so I get a certain level of confidence. Car's not a very good example because I don't have the same amount of confidence in my truck right now. But either way, all of those examples that you have build a lot more confidence when you test them than when you test your God as a non-believer. For example, I'll put the Mountain Dew down, put my hands in the air, and say, Jesus, if you're out there, please talk to me or show me a sign in the next 3 seconds or by the end of this video, please. Nothing so far. And it hasn't been anything anytime I've ever tried. Anytime I've ever gone through the recipe of how to commune with the Judeo-Christian God, nothing positive has happened. Nothing has happened at all. This world conveniently looks like a world where the Judeo-Christian God does not exist. If that God were trying to make a world where he didn't exist look like the on its face facts, and you could only believe this God if you already believed this God through faith, then good job, because all of the evidence that I get from my world says that no, there's no Judeo-Christian God present. Nothing that intervenes in our lives. And so, yeah, there's a difference between the confidence of anything else that you test and you rely on, and you can constantly test throughout your life, and you build up a history of experiences with, and flatly trying out a new spiritual being to believe in, and then finding nothing coming from it. Okay? That's the difference. Also, it was assumed that I believe in the historical Jesus character, and Bruce, I do not believe in the historical character of Jesus. In fact, I don't believe in most history that was written before the 16th century because it was written with standards that were not the same as what we would accept in our time. And, for example, I don't believe that just because somebody gets a large political following or a large amount of underlings or a large amount of land that they control, that they suddenly get magical powers. Okay? And this is not just Jesus. This is a lot of different historical figures throughout time were said to have magical powers. That doesn't happen today. You don't hear stories about Obama putting his hand on the poor and then magically healing them. No, he creates a lot of drama by trying to change our healthcare systems with paperwork, you know? So, no, I don't believe anything from that time period on its face. I think that you can glean a lot of information and maybe it can positively affect your life, but I consider most of history before the 16th century that is not verifiable and validatable now to be in the same realm as mythology. It's just legends, you know? And I guess it's important to keep those legends, dated as to where we think they came from in time. But you can see a difference between the stories of important people today and the stories that come from important people in history. You don't hear anyone walking on water anymore. You don't hear anyone creating multitudes of food out of little portions of food or transmuting water into wine with a magical wave of your hand. No, there's a process involved. You actually have to use some fermentation, None of that. No one dying and then coming back to life after 3 days. Especially without any medical science whatsoever. Just putting them in a hole and covering that hole with a rock. No, that doesn't make someone come back to life after 3 days. That person's going to be dead. If they were dead to begin with. So, yeah, no, I don't believe in the historical Jesus. I don't believe any of the magical things that happened in the Bible stories. That someone 2,000 years ago named Jesus might have lived in the Middle East and was born in Nazareth and or Bethlehem. Okay, sounds plausible, but do I believe it in a way that I would bet my life on it? No. There's no reason for me to base any of my decisions right now on anything that comes from that period of time. Any bit of information. If you can't verify a bit of information that comes from that time period now, say like some scientific fact, then there's no reason to believe it. And I think starting in the 1600s, people just used better verification of each other in order to write history. And especially in my lifetime and starting 50 years before, we started getting video accounts of things and other ways to verify historical happenings and events. So no, I don't believe in the historical Jesus the way that you put it. Sorry. And it isn't because I heard any debunking of was Jesus real by some other person. No, it's blanketly any magical historical figure. I don't believe that the Buddha existed as a magical person. I don't believe that Muhammad existed as a magical person. And most of their stories have been embellished over time. That's what happened to history that came from that era.